everyone, it has been a long time since I've been on YouTube, so I thought I'd just sit here and talk to you guys for a while. It is now January 2nd, but as you can see we still have Christmas things up. I think I'm going to leave them up until the 6th, which I believe the 6th is Epiphany, and so that kind of stretches the Christmas season out a little longer. We were gone. We actually went to Guatemala this year from the 2nd of December until the 12th, or the 1st until the 12th. So we really missed out on some Christmas. So I'm just kind of soaking up the last of Christmas here before all the decorations come down and all that. So before we start, I just got to show you guys this gingerbread house I made. I made it from scratch, okay? So no kit, you know. Anyways, so I made my own pattern for this gingerbread house. This was my first ever no kit gingerbread house. I wrote my name on the side. But I watched a YouTube video that I'll link to. It's really good. And the way she does it is you cut out the pattern, which I had to make my own pattern. So I made my own pattern. And then you roll out your dough between parchment paper and wax paper. And then you can cut out windows by just doing a slit, like cutting an eye. So 2 lines here and then another line in the middle. And then you fold it out to make shutters. And then this lady also put like hard candies in there. You melt these in at the last minute, like the last 5 minutes of baking or whatever, and it makes kind of like a glass pane. So that was really cool, I thought. This one is not perfect. This whole house is not perfect. But I thought it was just really exciting for me to finally get to do that. So anyways, before you put the pieces in, you take a straw and you punch holes in each corner of each piece, and you know, take out the little circles so there's a perfect hole in there before you bake it. And then when you bring it out, you can wire the pieces together with twist ties. And that's exactly what I did. I'm sure there's a twist tie around here that you could probably see. But it worked extremely well. And the great thing was, I have a hard time sometimes getting, a 3-hour chunk of time to do something because running after toddler and all that. But I could do this in increments. So I made the dough one day, I rolled it out another day, I cut out the pieces another day, and baked the pieces another day. So like, you could stretch this gingerbread house process on for like a week. So anyways, once I had everything wired together, then I made the royal icing. And this was the first time that I had made royal icing from scratch with egg whites and powdered sugar, and it was super, super easy. Like, I'd totally do it again. It was so easy with the KitchenAid mixer. So that was pretty easy. But then I couldn't find my tips. I couldn't find my icing tips. And then, so finally I found a tiny one, and I found a huge one, and then I did eventually find a star one, but that's why it's kind of sloppy here, because I literally just put it, like, I piped it straight out of the tube, like in these big blobs, which are kind of ugly. So I think next time the piping is going to be a lot better, if I can find the right tips. But anyways, I thought I'd show you that, my little gingerbread house there. That was super fun for me, and it was actually quite inexpensive thing to do for, you know, a Christmas activity decoration. I've got some Dominican cocoa, hot cocoa. It's this cocoa that comes in little balls. They're like this big. And so I've got some hot water and I dropped it in there, and I'm trying to mash it all up. Who knew? In Guatemala they come in like these discs. The drinking chocolate comes in discs, but apparently in the Dominican they come in little balls. So that's what I've got. I'm going to put some cream here from Aldi. So I thought I would talk about First of all, just a little preview. I'm going to put out our spending for 2018 in select categories. Not all of our spending because nobody really cares about that. But for things like clothing and food and that kind of stuff. And we spent about $1,500 on food last year for the three of us. Which equals out to, my husband figured it's about $1 per person per meal, I think. I could be wrong on that. So that does not include, our food does not include one night a week, which is date night. So that's eating out. And we usually get pizza or some kind of fast food for maybe once a week. So that does not include probably 2 meals a week. And I think, yeah. So it doesn't include 2 meals a week, but it does include, you know, all the other breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. And we bought a ton of snacks last year, which was crazy, but I still came in under $30 a week for the three of us. So I thought that was pretty good. And it kind of just goes to show that it's not really a challenge for me anymore. If we're buying junk food and ice cream and candy and all that stuff, like $10 a week is really no longer a challenge. So this year, I think I'm going to try to do some healthier things. I'm going to try to do a few organics. I'd like to do grass-fed meat. We'll see if I can make that happen or not. And I just want to make it clear, I'm not doing that because I feel like we're going to die if we don't have organics, or, you know, like we're going to get sick or something. But I do feel decently strongly that organic is best for the environment. And if we want sustainability and, you know, if we want health for everyone, long term, it's really best if we do organic, I believe. So I just want to make that clear. Like, for people who can't afford organics, it's not, I don't really blame you for that. But for us, I think I'm ready for a new challenge, and so that's kind of what I've decided for this next year. Anyhow, that being said, we have a ton of food in our pantry and our freezer. And I think January is going to be a good month to do a no spend for groceries, or almost no spend. I mean, you know, if we need something, I'm not going to like starve us just to do a no spend, but I know there's plenty of food in there, and the chickens have started laying eggs again, and so I think it's a good time to start. So I thought today that I would talk about some tips to get you through a no spend month. If you're attempting to do that here in January, it's a great way to like save up for something big, or to get rid of stuff in your pantry, which is what I really want to do. So, oh man, this is so sweet. Dominican cocoa is the sweetest. Alright, so in my book, The Housewife's Guide to Frugal Food, which I feel like I talk about this all the time. I have a little appendix in the back, and it's flavor families. So ingredients that go well together based on regional cuisine. So I've got like Chinese in there, Middle Eastern, Eastern European, that kind of thing. And it's just to get you started. And I thought this was my idea, but there is nothing new under the sun, because someone else has done a fantastic job of categorizing all of the ingredients and what goes best with those ingredients, how to use them. I mean, this is called the Flavor Bible, and it's the best book ever. For example, like I've got this shriveled up pear here that was left over from a fruit basket that we got. That was a really good basket, by the way, but this poor little pear hasn't been eaten yet, and what am I going to do with one pear? So I can look it up here in this book. Let me see if I can find it. HLM. Oh, peaches. Peanut oil. Pears. Yeah, so this book has the season, so when it's in season, autumn through winter, the taste, which this is sweet, it could be sour, sweet, sour, bitter, I don't know, I forget what the other ones are. A bunch of other things, techniques, how to cook it, and also everything that goes well with it. Like everything from allspice to, oh my goodness, this list goes on forever, to which wines go best with the pear. So that is super, super cool. It also has combinations like pears plus amaretto plus hazelnuts, or pears plus blue cheese plus olive oil plus red wine vinegar. Like, just so much for this little pear. He is going to have a happy ending, I am pretty sure. So I was super excited about this book. And that's, I guess that would be my first tip, to have some kind of reference like this, so you can take all of those random, seemingly random ingredients and make them taste really, really good. Here's another tip. This cream, instead of buying milk that only lasts 2 weeks or less, as I've discovered, the last couple gallons we had started to go bad before the date, which is just ridiculous. But anyways, if you get this heavy whipping cream, this lasts a really long time. I think at least a month, because it's ultra pasteurized. And I'm not a huge fan of ultra pasteurization, but if you just want a milk flavor or like something to put in your cocoa instead of milk, it lasts a long time, so you can buy it, you know, before your no spend and use it just throughout the month. And you can probably, I imagine you could thin it out for milk. I'm not sure, but it's reasonable. I think this was $1.58 for a pint. So for the three of us, I mean, pretty much all I use is one pint for just regular cooking. If you're gonna make something special, you probably want to get a quart. But for us, like this would suffice for milk for a month, a no spend month. Another way to get through a zero spend month is to utilize your garden or your animals if you have any. I know most people don't have animals, but more people are getting chickens in their backyards, even in town. So I thought I'd mention that. And then, this is probably too late for you to use this tip if you haven't done it already, but back in October, I think, we put like this greenhouse. It's like a hard sheet of plastic. I wish I knew what it was called, but I can't think of it. These are my new cold frames that we built. We actually just built some frames around the existing beds, and the tops were the most expensive. Those were it was $42 with 10% off, so less than $40 for a sheet, and then we cut the sheet in two to make two lids. Anyways, we made like a cold frame for one of my raised beds, and that was the one that had the lettuce in it, and the lettuce is still growing in there, and it's, you know, January 2nd or 3rd. So it's the beginning of January, and we've still got fresh lettuce out there. Some other tips. With a low spend, like, you want to try to avoid buying things every week. So things like fresh produce, fresh fruits and vegetables, or dairy products, and most of that stuff can just, like, you can get that frozen. Or what I'm doing is, like, I am cleaning out my fridge, and I took some carrots and celery that were looking kind of sad because they've been in there for a couple weeks, and I cut them up and I popped them in the freezer. And you can do that too. Just take what you have right now, and if it's not already frozen, stick it in the freezer so you can take it out week by week, little by little, and use it up this month. And really, I mean, fresh is healthier, but frozen is right up there. So dairy, it can be a little harder. You can freeze that stuff as well, although some of it doesn't freeze like, for example, mozzarella cheese freezes great. You can pop it in a brick and take it out, slice it up, and it's great. But cheddar and Monterey Jack and most of the others actually, like, they crumble when you freeze them. So you either want to plan on using it crumbled or shred it beforehand so the texture is less crazy. Breads are going to have to be made, like, you're going to have to make your own breads. Or maybe if you have bread in your freezer already, you can use that bread. One way you can kind of freshen it up, I've found, is if you've got it on an Instant Pot, you can put, just put some water in the bottom, and then you put the insert in that I think is for potatoes. It doesn't really matter, just like a wire, some kind of thing to keep your stuff out of the water. And then put your bread in there and just set it on like a keep warm setting, and then leave it in there for, I don't know, half hour or so. And it'll perk up your bread without making it soggy. I've done this with pizza before, like leftover pizza. Usually it just sits and gets hard in the fridge, so before I serve it, I'll put it in the Instant Pot to warm up instead of the oven. Like, don't put it in the oven, don't put it in the microwave, because it just loses more moisture, and then it's like you're, you know, trying to eat a piece of wood or something. So if you put it in the Instant Pot, that'll kind of bring it back to life. And yeah, you could probably do that with frozen stuff too, I'm pretty sure, unless it's got that frostbite, that might melt and then make it soggy, I don't know. But anyways, so you can do that. But bread, guys, bread is so easy to make. All you gotta do is go to the thrift store, get yourself a bread maker. Get yourself a bread maker. And then just dump the stuff in, push the buttons, and you have fresh, wonderful bread. And so, it's that easy. I gotta laugh. Okay, here is one thing that ticks me off, is hearing people complain about how they don't have time for this or that or this or that. And especially if they say they don't have time to cook, you know, to cook from scratch. So people are like, oh yeah, you can save that much money because you can stand around all day and cook stuff like bread and yogurt. But people, this is the 21st century. We have machines to do almost all that stuff in our home. So you buy yourself a bread maker. You buy yourself an Instant Pot, and make sure you get one with the yogurt function, because that is just, oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread. So get yourself an Instant Pot, get yourself a bread machine, get yourself a blender. A blender can do a lot of things, especially if it's a nice one like we have. You know, and that will make your life so much easier. And also get yourself a dishwasher. Nobody should be washing dishes. It's 2019, people. And I'm saying that to myself because I still wash dishes by hand. And anyways, okay. So I gotta get off this rant. Anyways, get yourself some tools. They exist, and there is no reason we have to be doing everything by hand unless we really want to. So all of you whiners and complainers out there, go to the thrift store and get yourself some tools, or go to Amazon, or go to wherever the tools are, buy them, pay the money up front, and then when you're like me and you only have, you know, you just don't have time to do as much as you used to, you can still do that, right? I can still make yogurt, I can still make cheese, I can still make butter. I mean, that's crazy. Butter, all you gotta do, so I've got some of this stuff in the fridge that's going to go to waste if I don't use it because it's pretty close to the expiration date. All I got to do is pour this thing in the Vitamix, turn it on, and, you know, a couple minutes later or less than a minute later, butter. Done. So get yourself some tools and learn how to use them. And I think I'm almost out of tips for a no spend month. But there's probably more that I'm forgetting, but for now, this is going to be it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful beginning of January, and good luck with all your low spend and no spends.